So when will you think of stepping back and retiring, not contesting another election?
The moment I'm no longer of use to the government and to the constituents that I serve.
Mr. Lee.
But let me put it like this. The store of knowledge, I'm not being immodest, but the store of knowledge I had through the experiences I've been through the Japanese occupation, my learning experience in Britain 4 years immediately after the war, the problems we face here. There's a data bank here that I think the younger ministers will take some time to equal. Supposing I can put, like a computer, you know, put it into a thumb drive, and then they can access it. Then I say, all right, call it quits.
But many say you're still pulling the strings from behind. What do you have to say about it? Many say because you are still in power, you're still in politics, there's always that perception that you're pulling strings from behind. What do you have to say about it? Why not just quash the rumors once and for all and step out of politics and enjoy?
Would you like me to step out of politics?
No, I mean, I'm just conveying the message.
No, no. I'm asking you a simple question. Would you like me to step out of politics?
You could still contribute outside of politics. Why not just stay as an MP, not as the MM, and still contribute to the ward?
Let me answer that question. There are things which I can do as a minister in government, which I believe, and the Prime Minister knows it, and the senior minister, and I think the cabinet ministers also know, that no other person can do. It's as simple as that.
So it's worth the rumors' existence that, I mean, because of the work that you can do in the cabinet, is worth risk.
Do you think it detracts
hearing all these rumors,
the confidence in the second and third generation?
Do you believe for one moment that my son, and before him Goh Chok Tong, my son is 53 years old, 54 coming on to, hasn't a mind of his own? He needs me to whisper how to answer, how to plan the future. He didn't need me to decide his career. He chose to join the SAF on his own. He chose to go into politics on his own, discussing it with Goh Chok Tong, who was Minister of Defense. He asked me. I said, think it over carefully. He just lost his wife in '84. Wife died in '82. I said, you're going to make it very difficult for yourself getting another wife because you had 2 young children. This is not a joke. We are not running this for ourselves. If we were, Singapore wouldn't be what it is. And let me tell you this. If what you say is reflective of your generation, then I'm a bit sad. But the generation that grew up with me, those over 55 are still 35% of the electorate. Those over 40 to 55 are 25% of the electorate. They are 60%. I think you take a poll of that generation and see whether they think I should step down.
Mr. Lee, speaking about the future, right? Do you think that there will be a lack of political revival or leadership revival in the future because Singaporeans are getting apolitical?
Singaporeans cannot get apolitical. What is political?
Mr. Lee, if let's say this year our elections, it's not compulsory. Let's say people could vote if they want to. How many people do you think will go to the votes?
Let us say there are no votes cast, except for the few contested areas, right? Have they become apolitical? Politics has got to do with your life, your future. Just a moment. Your life, your future. Things go wrong, you have no future.
Correct, Mr. Lee, but things have not gone wrong. And if, let's say, I say again, if votes or elections was not compulsory, people do not need to go to a polls, do not need to vote, how many % of people do you think will go to the votes? That could be only 30%, 20%. Does this prove that Singaporeans are getting apolitical?
No. It proves that they're so comfortable and so well looked after that they've decided, okay, you carry on.
Correct, so nobody will take over.
Would you see that as a mandate then? Would you see a low voter turnout as a mandate of the ruling party's capabilities?
I remind you what I've said, that I have not been contested for 3 successive elections.
Mr. Lee,
it's not because I have no mandate.
The context of it was...
No, it's because the opposition knows they cannot displace me.
No, the context of the whole thing was assuming his scenario, assuming voting is not compulsory, and then you said...
Let us assume it's not compulsory.
And the voter turnout was low. So my question is...
No, and therefore they won't contest? Or they will contest?
And your answer to that was, if voter turnout is like 20%, it means that people are happy with the government, life is good, everything is fine. So my question is, if that's the case, if that's what you believe, does that mean that you see that as a mandate that the people are giving to the ruling party? Because they just think it's so good, they don't
see that as a mandate or a non-mandate. I see that as a reflection of the inability of the opposition to produce a comparable team, and the people are quite satisfied to leave it. The moment they are not satisfied, you see what happens in the Philippines. Right?
There is an impression that the PAP is arrogant and even bully. You know,
if I'm arrogant, would I be talking to you?
I think the impression.
And are you bullied?
No. Maybe you let me explain why there is such a perception. I think in many of, for example, the libel suits against your political opponents and, you know, the way they have been made bankrupt creates this perception that the PAP is very high-handed when it comes to dealing with dissent. And I think to a certain extent, it creates, leads to sympathy votes for the underdog.
Yes. But let me point out the consequences, right? Suppose I never sued Mr. Jayaratnam when he said that I gave a banking license to Tadli Bank, because my brother was a director. I'll soon be smeared and thought corrupt, right? So my brother got a benefit, I must get a benefit too. I sued him. He denied that there was the meaning. So it went all the way up, Court of Appeal, into the Privy Council. We both had QCs. He lost. Having been taught that lesson, and he said that during election time, next election, he said, I didn't want the embarrassment of Tee Chiang Wan, a minister then of National Development, who was being investigated for $1 million taken as a bribe, so I told him to commit suicide. And again, it was election time. I don't sue. I sued. He lost. Then he goes and defames Goh Chok Tong and me on the eve of poll at Cheng San constituency, 1997. Brought up the police report, says, and this is, you know what it is, it's a crime. So I've committed a crime. So the whole thing was videotaped, fortunately, because we had the whole thing videotaped. And now, he has to pay for it. He knew the risk. He's a lawyer, he's not a fool. He's been down twice, third time. Supposing they were all unbiased cases. We have 2,000 lawyers in Singapore who have to respect their judges. You get a lawyer to read the law reports because the judge cannot give a judgment without a report, you know. Reporters are there, lawyers, counsel are there, arguing. Is it right or is it wrong? What you are saying is, leave it, let him say it.
No, I'm saying do not destroy them.
If he can find the money to pay, he's not destroyed. He should not have said it at all, right? Low Tia Kiang didn't have to say it to win. Neither did Chiam.
So, Mr. Lee, do you think in this age of walkover constituencies, an age where you don't consider the opposition very much, why does our vote matter?
Because, why am I talking to you? Because I think it is necessary for people like you and your generation to understand that this is not a business of just voting or not voting. That politics has got to do with your life, your job, your home, your Medicare, your children's future. Suppose it goes wrong. You don't need to go to do political science to know that something has gone wrong, right? So it is necessary for you to understand that we are determined to maintain good government in Singapore. Without good government, we will rapidly go down. We have put in place a system which requires those who want to take over the government to be able and competent. So we locked up the assets. If the assets were not locked up, Low Tia Kiang can say, oh, Cheng Hu Wu Chi, we will spend. Government has money, why is it? I give you free bus fares, I give you cut down electricity rates, etc., etc. The money will disappear, no they? And the people will say, yes, yes, that's right, give it to us. But these are funds we have accumulated over the last 40 years and multiplied them for, we've got no oil, no gas, no timber, no whatever. This is it. There's a fallback for our currency, for our future. Without this, without a good government, Singapore will never be put to... Once a bad government gets in, as I said, we may be able to last one term because of the double key. But the second term, if a man is really good enough and win, he'll change the president to have his own man as president, and everything will be spent.
Mr. Mentor, thank you for your time with us tonight. On behalf of all of us, I think we're really grateful that we got to go through all these difficult issues with you.
Thank you. I hope I've enlightened you on why we do what we do. It's not for the fun of it. It's for a very serious purpose to ensure a good government for Singapore, and that an opposition, when it gets in, will be equally good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you.
新传媒电视8频道。
食神的最大境界。
食神！等一下，等一下，我骑着。
我没有看过这东西耶！
眼睛，我最爱吃眼睛。
黄金炒饭要来了！今天特别企划推出的是南方人爱吃、北方人也爱吃的馄饨料理。 所以哪里有好吃的温州大馄饨、红油抄手都是今天推荐的好料哦。但是你知道什么是带骨馄饨吗？今天全能美食需要带你品尝馄饨的美味。嗨，欢迎光临！她是美味天后玉芳，她
是美食仙女黄嘉千。
你现在收看的是全能美食秀。
说到这里呀，中国人都说得好，民以食为天，所以大家都知道这个吃饭这件事情对我们来讲是多么重要而且伟大的一件事。
哎呦，没错没错，所以你看我们这个全能美食秀节目有多重要，除了介绍大家这个美食之外，同时还兼具了开运的功能啊！开！嘿。
这位小姐，你有没有觉得你有点广告嫌疑太重？
你怎么可以这样说我呢？我有这么卑鄙吗？我有是这种下流的手段吗？
真的对不起，我误会你了。
真的，
赶快来看看今天哪5位来宾需要来好好的开运一下。
没错，首先欢迎这一位经营2手衣有声有色的贾新慧，欢迎大家好。
讲到美食啊，我从中国美食呢到这个小吃啊，我都是吃遍了，所以找我当然是没错的啦，一定赢的。
好，赶快来欢迎出新专辑的杨家成。
哎，每次找我找对了，因为我爸是厨师，所以我对挑好吃的东西特别有心得。耶！
来个厨师的儿子呢，接下来是哪一位呢？我想应该他是一个这个小涛，
小食神。
没错，他是谁呢？声东进。
哎 ，Hello， 大家好，我是可米小声东进。那平时在可米小吃里面就是最塞家，所以今天来到这边，我一定要把全部东西全部吃光光，所以我是美食小天王声东进。耶！
哎呦，好，接下来介绍这一位呢，才是真正的老饕了。爱吃看他的身材就知道啊。
没错没错，
造型。最近造型好像变得比较结实了一点，
为什么呢？可能是吃到好吃的料理。
哦，让我们来欢迎静雯，看我这龅牙的爆发力，让所有的美食尽收嘴里。好，最后一位
啊，本来是应该出来却没出来的郭世伦。
各位观众朋友啊，你看看我的身材啊，这么的结实，你就知道，因为之前上全能美食秀的时候吃太多了，所以呢就例行的减肥的政策。现在呢减肥完了以后呢，
太多了，
我还没讲完嘛，
时间不够，
不够吗？